Hi BookTube, it's Stephanie. Let's talk about the books that I read in January and February. Now in January I finished one thing, a novella, so let's start with that one. I can rant about this. I won't, I hope. But the novella that I finished was The Factual Witches of Lowell. I do not remember the author right now, but I will have a picture up so you can see. So this novella is about factory workers, women factory workers at these cotton mills in the place of Lowell. And the story starts with these women committing a ritual that because they want better working conditions. That's basically it. It's based on a specific area, and the author is basically saying what would have happened if they succeeded with the aid of magic, basically that. So it's very much a slice of life and slice of moment, just that moment. It doesn't really go anything really before that, and it doesn't really go anything after that. It's just this event, this strike that they are having, and it has a pretty bad rating. Let's start with that. It actually was part of my hardest reading challenge, to read the 5 lowest rated books. This is one of them. The lowest, by the way. This is the lowest. And okay, you can see why. I mean, I can see why. I gave it 2 stars because I like the ending. The rest, I won't recommend this. I do find that some of the comments were a bit like, well, because here's the thing, it takes place during a time where there's still slavery in the US. That's where this story is set. And some people in the reviews are upset that she isn't trying to, that these characters are not more sympathetic with the slaves. And it's like, but that's not what this is about. This is about just the strike and they trying to fight for their own rights. These women fighting for their own rights. It's not like an expansive story where you can do much else. So I found that those were a tiny bit unfair, but I mean, they are valid still. I mean, they are opinions, but I just didn't feel like that, yeah. However, there are certain things about the magic that I found weird. Now, it's based in a lot of ways on ownership and who owns certain things. That's where I will leave it. I found that part really fascinating and a very interesting idea. But basically, one issue that a lot of reviews have, and that I have as well, basically, you could just say that water removes it. I will not say anything else by that, but like that you can have. And also, since slavery does come up in the book, and I just feel like back then slavery trade across the Atlantic had stopped. Well, maybe not 100, but it had stopped pretty much because there were patrols stopping it, trying to stop it. And I just found that one of the events that have a heavy impact on one of the main characters, and I just felt like that would not make sense, because since majority of the slaves would have been slaves since birth, an event that happens would not have happened unless they were fresh slaves. I don't want to say more. This is a novella, and I find that if I say anything else, and I think you noticed that I'm having a hard time not spoiling anything, even though, like, I don't think that you should read it. Like, it's not good. It's not. If it weren't for the fact that I enjoyed the ending, it would have gotten 1 star. That's easy. That's it. Then we have February, and the first book that I finished in February were A Dead Man's Folly by Agatha Christie. This was a buddy read, and this was a pretty good mystery. I really liked it. It's a classic Hercule Poirot one. I do find that one thing is like kind of staring you in the face the entire time and slightly obvious, but the things around it is very fascinating, and I did not remember this one, so I had a lot of fun, and I would definitely recommend it. The next thing that I read was Glaskulans värld, Den gyllene örnens fjädrar by Gillier and Carbon. So this is the 3rd book in a French graphic novel series, taking place in this world that the main character enters with the aid of a key into this music box. I really enjoyed the story. Now, I did say in my TBR that this was the last volume. It's not. I do enjoy the artwork, and I found it really cool. But yeah, this is not the last volume. It's the last one that has been made, I think. If nothing else, this is the only, there's no 6th volume out in Sweden, and I can't, at least on Goodreads, I haven't done that thorough search to see if it's out in France. But yeah, it's not out in Sweden, so I don't know when I will finish this. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and I really do like the art style. The next one that I finished was A Brief History of Black Holes, which is a non-fiction about black holes. I adored it. I really had a lot of fun listening to this, and the author is narrating the book herself, and you can just tell that she's having a lot of fun with it, and that just makes you want to listen to it. Yeah, I had so much fun with this one, and I would definitely highly recommend it if you're interested in astrophysics and things like that, because it is, yeah, it's a brief history about black holes with pretty much a lot of the author's personality through it, and I had so much fun with this one. And then I ended the month with Gruppen, or as the English title is, The Hollow, by Agatha Christie, which is another Hercule Poirot book. And this one, once it actually got going, which took like a really long time. Now, there are some Hercule Poirot stories that do also take a pretty long while before it gets going. For instance, Death of the Nile also takes a really long time to get through the actual, like, thank you, now the murder has happened, thank you, now the story can start. And it's the same thing with this one. And again, just like with The Dead Man's Folly, I didn't remember this one. So I was not really that surprised about who done it, but like, I didn't really remember it, so it was pretty fun. Once, as I said, once it got going, it took yeah, it took such a long time. It also doesn't help that the one of the like it has to do with cheating, and I don't like cheating stories like at all, no matter the reason, if you want to say it like that. So I'm like, so already I didn't like the main character, which is, you know, the kind of point. The main character, as if that's technically not Poirot. The main character to the vast majority of the first part. But yeah, there was something about this story that I didn't really, yeah. Well, once it got going, it was good. I enjoyed it, but that hill that you have to go up for in the beginning, just so boring. It was so boring, and it took me, yeah, like I started it before Dead Man's Folly, and it took me yeah, it took me such a long time before I actually got into it. And once the actual things started and it started rolling, that was when I felt like I could, like, then it felt like a normal Poirot book. But yeah, that hill in the beginning, like, it wasn't bad, but yeah, just be prepared. Be prepared that it will be an uphill before you actually get through to the classical Hercule Poirot story. So those are the 5 things that I've read in January and February. Not the biggest pile of books, but yeah, I did read a lot in February, just things that I still haven't finished because I got focused on other things. But yeah, I did have a lot of fun in February and I felt like my reading mojo got going again. So now I just need to get it going for the last couple of weeks for March. But yeah, what was your best book that you read in January or February? Mine would have to be A Brief History of Black Holes. I just love that audiobook, so yeah. But I will see you next time. Bye.